So the US dollar is rapidly losing value right now. In my whole lifetime, my parents' lifetime, and my grandparents' lifetime, the US dollar has been the dollar, right? And when there's an ongoing recession, usually companies buy into the US dollar because it's so stable and so safe. But instead, right now, with an incoming recession, countries are instead buying other forms of currency, like the euro, like Chinese money, like Japanese yen. And you want to know the reason? Come on. I know you know the reason.
Let's talk about the depreciation of this guy, because the US dollar, it's not as valuable as it once was. The strength of the dollar is tracked by an index, which measures its value against a basket of 6 foreign currencies. Think of it as a meter of sorts for the dollar's relative strength. When the index goes up, the dollar appreciates. When it goes down, it's weaker. Right now, we have fallen below the key technical and psychological 100 level. To put that in perspective, we were trading around 110 in early January. So the index has fallen quite a lot. In fact, we haven't traded below 100 in the index since July 2023. And then on Monday, we actually hit the lowest level since March 2022. Now, the dollar usually goes down when interest rates are expected to fall, or when the US economy looks weak, or when we're piling onto our debt, because investors want to move their money where they're going to see the best returns. Lower interest rates means I'd earn less. I don't want that. And if growth slows in the US economy or we fall into a recession, that makes the dollar a lot less attractive. We also could see a weaker dollar if investors are feeling a little risky. They want to park their money in stocks and Bitcoin and emerging markets. The dollar is considered a safe haven asset. It's stable, it's reliable. So if things are relatively calm out there, you want to be where the party is. You don't want to be stuck at home with the cool, calm, and collected dollar. But we were in a market environment that's definitely not chill. There's a lot of uncertainty on the policy side when we think about trade, tariffs, how that could impact the economy. And some sources have told me that that volatility could be why the dollar is weakening. Basically, it's representative of this waning of US exceptionalism, aka the sell America trade at work. Now, this doesn't mean the US is not exceptional. There just could be other areas on a relative basis that look more stable or attractive. We just had a pretty large stimulus package that was announced in Germany, for example. So after a period of intense overexposure to US equities, US currencies, there could be some de-risking going on now that there's other opportunities out there. It's not just about the US anymore. I know, we like it when it's all about us. But sources have told me that the dollar has been expensive for the past 3 to 5 years, so this could be just some normalization in the pricing. Not necessarily a lack of confidence in the US. Because the US has the best companies in the world. Think about names like Nvidia, Amazon, Microsoft, Apple. Fundamentally, those stories haven't changed. In many ways, sell America is policy uncertainty, not business fundamental uncertainty. And that's an important distinction as Wall Street remains largely bullish on the dollar over the long term. It is the cornerstone of global financial markets. But in the short run, we're likely going to continue to see a lot of this volatility in those safe haven assets like the dollar along with the treasury market, which unfortunately means the trip I planned to Europe in a couple weeks, this isn't going that far. I should have went in January.
Hi there. I've had a couple people say I need to get this out there, so that's what I'm going to do. The amount of shipments that are coming into the United States, some reports have dropped from 50 to 70%. That already means a recession is down the pike, period. If you go a little broader, geopolitical and more macroeconomic terms, China has stood up and said that we are not going to stand up to the U.S. hegemony. And so, therefore, they're having the world stand up to the U.S. being the reserve currency. If the world says no to the dollar being the U.S. reserve currency, it won't be a recession anymore. Probably not even a depression. It will be the collapse of the United States.
The US dollar is now starting to be banned in certain countries. Now this means in these specific countries, you cannot use US dollars anymore. They will look at that currency and it is not a valid currency. It will be the equivalent of trying to buy things with monopoly money. Now some of these countries include Ukraine, Belarus, and many countries that were under the old USSR. And they say the reason they're doing this is because they'd like to break away from the US dollar and have their own currency more valuable. Because see, the entire world runs off of the US dollar. It is a very powerful currency. But the thing is a lot of countries don't like this and they don't want to rely on that, and they'd rather have their currency be just as powerful. But now see, the question is, will countries that small actually get their currency to be that powerful worldwide? Probably not. But if they can stop US dollars from being used in their own country and force people to use their own currency, at least in their own country, their currency can be the most powerful. But what do you all think about it? Let me know in the comments.
The world is dropping the United States dollar. It's dropping the US dollar, and this is why. So just to give a little bit of context, the United States dollar is the world's reserve currency, and it became that after World War II, when at one point the United States GDP made up 50% of the world's economic output, okay? Now, at the time, the United States dollar was actually backed up by a physical commodity like gold, but that hasn't been the case since 1971, when President Nixon actually effectively removed the United States dollar off of the gold standard. And the reason behind that is a whole nother history lesson that I can't really get into right now. Now, since the United States dollar has been removed from the gold standard, what actually gives the United States dollar its value is, one, the trust of the global markets in the United States government, the ability that the United States government can keep and maintain economic stability, and lastly, that the United States government can manage the currency responsibly. All three, which I'm going to show you, that's not the case right now anymore, especially under this administration with Trump. The world globally has no trust in this administration, so they don't have any trust in the United States government. That's one. Globally, the world has begun to lose its faith and confidence that the United States government can maintain economic stability. I mean, they're not wrong. Right now, currently under this administration, we are dealing with massive layoffs. We're facing a recession. We're dealing with inflation. So yeah, the United States dollar is not looking as strong. And lastly, globally, the world would need to have trust and faith that the United States government can manage currency responsibly. And again, under this administration, we have a president that has now enacted this whole global trading war. These tariffs that this administration is imposing, that is essentially making it so much harder for the working class here in America to live, to survive, while simultaneously making sure that all of his multi-millionaire and billionaire friends get the greatest tax break of their fucking lives. Yeah, I could see why the world globally does not trust this administration and the US dollar. Now, I know you guys have heard about the little rumors about China wanting to move away from the US dollar and actually switch over to gold. That's not a rumor. It's actually been in the works since 2022. Here in an article found on asiatimes.com, the title of the article is China's Gold Stockpiling is Dollar Warning Sign, right? And this was actually posted on November 24th, 2022, where it's literally stated that China's banks have begun switching out the dollar and replacing it with gold. If China shifts the yuan to the gold standard, it will, in time, make the yuan more valuable than the US dollar. And as of right now, that's really not too much of a challenge, considering that the United States dollar is only 3 points away from hitting a historic low, for it literally being at the lowest value that it's ever been in existence. Everybody is saying that right now, the best thing for you guys to do, for us to do, if we are smart, is to invest in commodities like gold and silver. So now this is where I'm actually going to add. I'm going to tag one of my mutuals. Her name is Dr. Kelly Doctor, and her entire page is dedicated to teaching everybody how to invest in stocks, how to make money. I need you, Dr. Kelly, to please make us a video, a step-by-step on how to start investing in gold and silver. Many of us who have been participating in the boycotts have actually had, gotten some extra funds, had some extra funds laying around. Some of us have actually cleared up some debt. We have some savings. And right now, if this is the time for us to be investing, we need to strike while the iron is hot. I just don't know how to do it, so I can't relay that information to you. So I'm going to add somebody who does. And hopefully, she makes a video step by step. She, and explains to us in like for dummies. Make it for dummies. Teach us how to invest in gold and silver, because that's what we need to start doing right now.
America is going to be the poorest country in the world starting now. You're going to see the biggest crashes happening right now. So that's good for me because the price of gold and silver go up. So this time I went to the slums of Mumbai. But what shocks most people is America never had slums like that. Today, slums are everywhere across America. The slums of Mumbai are spreading across America. So the big shift is Russia, China versus America, Europe. The Chinese are threatening to shift the yuan to gold. And if they do that, US dollar collapses. If that happens, America goes. So that's why I've been saying it's commodities, silver and gold. So when the dollar crashes, I get richer.